everybody, thanks for joining us. Andy Lightbody, Rocky Mountain Television, and this edition of Outdoor Adventures. Well, we're not high in the mountains at the moment. We're out actually on the eastern plains, and we're with Dan Ardrey, who is the owner and basically the operator for Kiowa Creek Outfitters. Dan, thanks for taking the time to join us. What are we going to be doing?
Let's go kill some turkey.
How about that? This is a spring turkey season.
Right.
Where are we approximately?
I know we're about an hour and a half outside of Denver, about an hour and a half outside of Colorado Springs in the east.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to be chasing spring turkeys.
Yes, sir.
Now, the unique thing about your operation is you're well known for leasing and having very prime private land only. So there's not a lot of, hopefully there's no competition with somebody showing up.
There's not. There's very little, if none, in this area, public ground. It's all private in this area. So, you know, it's private ground.
What makes you guys also kind of unique is the idea that you've both got several species of turkeys out here. I mean, we can have a choice over. A hunter can actually say, I'm looking specifically for...
There's either Merriam's or Rio Grande turkey in this area. The creek bottom's more of the Rio Grande, and the timbered ridges and whatnot more the Merriam's. Okay. But they intermingle sometimes, and then there's certain areas you can go, you're going to see mostly Merriam's, and then there's other places you can go, you're going to see mostly Rio Grandes. So
the hunter really has got a choice of being able to say specific species I want or I'd like to. Okay, what are we going to do? I mean, you've been out, you've been doing a little bit of scouting. Steve McGrath from Camp Chef is going to be coming in tonight. So we're going to go out and do some scouting a little bit this afternoon and check on stuff. And hopefully if we get a bird or two, we might even be able to put together a cooking show or something along with all of the gear that he's already sent out.
Some of that real good eating turkey too. Yeah, there you go. You know, I've got some birds pretty much. I think we've decided you guys want to go after the Merriam's. Right. So I've got some birds located on a timbered ridge that, you know, they're working it pretty hard and pretty heavy, and been watching them the last, you know, several days. There's a couple longbeards in there, quite a few jakes. There's just a lot of birds in that area. I've got some pop-up blinds set up and got a setup for my decoys, and we'll go in the morning and, you know, way before sun up and get settled up, and as they come off the roofs, we'll try to call them down the ridge, you know, right into shotgun range, see if that'll work. But, you know, they're pretty willing birds. You know, springtime's going and they're trying to procreate. They got one thing on their mind. Yeah, they got pretty much. It's going to might be their demise too. So. Okay. But it's going to be a good setup, and you know, if that doesn't work, we can go out and try some Rios. If you want to try Rios, I've got, you know, lots of places around here that we lease. And
this is also kind of a unique area where a lot of hunters have the misconception that you've got to put in for an application. Well, let's stress that. Well, we don't.
And up until this year, we did have to. I mean, turkey are another one of the great success stories of conservation right now. I mean, literally 3 years ago, there were 25 draw-only tags. 25 only? 25 only. 2 years ago, there were 75 draw-only tags. Last year, there was 150 draw-only tags. And now the Division of Wildlife has put this in the OTC, over the counter. Over the counter. So they really successful story. I mean, you know, literally 10 years ago, you didn't see very few turkeys in here. Yeah. Now just about every place we have has some turkey on it. Some places they're thicker than others. Some places there's just a few, and they're every year they're showing up where we never used to see any turkeys. So it's awful good. Knock on wood. That's a good success story. That's a very good thing. A very good thing. As we wrap this up, when Steve gets here, you've got a ranch house out here, so you can accommodate. How many hunters are you going to plan on taking during a, say, spring season now? You know, this year I've slated it at 6. You know, we've had 5 in so far, and 5 have already shot longbeards. You know, with the numbers that we're looking at, probably next year I'll probably do a dozen hunters in the spring turkey. That's just what I got. I mean, looking at the numbers that we have, I don't want to overshoot anything. Just want to take out the older birds, or try to, you know, where everybody has a good quality hunt. But like I say, I think we'll probably go to a dozen next year. This year we're stopping it at 6, which, you know, Steve's going to be the 6th one, and outstanding. Or you guys are actually going to be the 6th one. Yeah, you know, that's your success story. So you know, we'll see what happens there. But there's, you know, with the turkey, I'd like to keep them as a, you know, especially since we can get tags. Yeah. We'd all like to keep it to where the numbers are up. This is really nice. It's a good, after the winter, get out, there's a little bit of green finally, and you know, you get out after you know, cabin fever, and you get out and do some hunting, and And we're actually expanding into Texas too, and doing some Rio Grandes down there for the turkey hunters that want to hit a few states. So,
as I was going to say though, I've talked to a lot of hunter friends, as you know, fellow journalists and writers and things like that, and they said, how can you get an over-the-counter tag on the Eastern Plains? I mean,
well, it's pretty new. There was a few units up until this year that were out here. Now it's several units, and I don't know how many, but I know this is one of them that they put on the over-the-counter. So there's a lot of birds out here. The Division of Wildlife's done a wonderful job, and so have the ranchers and landowners that helping transplant these birds. We've got several ranchers that have actually worked with the National Wild Turkey Federation and the Division of Wildlife to put up habitat and get these birds started out here. And once they're started,
they do pretty good.
They do pretty good.
I think on that happy note, we're going to go out. We're going to check and see what he's supposedly already located for us, and we're going to wait for Steve McGrath. And like I said, hopefully we're going to be able to put together a cooking show if Steve can shoot straight, because he's never killed a turkey before. And on that happy note, let's go take a look. Turkeys are definitely creatures of habit and often travel the same paths and trails on a daily basis. Now, one way to often outsmart them is to set up your blinds a few days before you actually plan on hunting. This gives the birds a chance to become accustomed to those blinds. The day before our hunt, Dan Ardrey decided that we should set up an additional blind to use for the camera crew the next day. Now, as you can obviously see, the truck, the blind, and all of us moving around and talking didn't seem to upset this big Miriam's gobbler at all. Turkeys traditionally come out of their roosting trees right at about first light, so it's best that everyone get into the blinds and into position before the birds hit the ground and start gobbling. Decoys are out, shotguns are loaded, but as always, make sure that the safety is on and your finger is nowhere near the trigger. Thanks to Hunter Specialties, we had a variety of their turkey calls to try out. A box call, a grenade, and the always successful glass and slate ring zones. Do yourself and your buddies a favor before heading to the field. Practice, practice, practice. Thanks to Dan and Kathy's good calling techniques, it didn't take long for a Big Tom to answer the call and come in to strut his stuff. And you know what? Steve was ready. One shot, one kill for first-time turkey slayer Steve McGrath from Camp Chef. This bird had nearly a 10-inch beard and topped the scales at 24 pounds. Mighty good eating, but for Steve, this bruiser is going to be mounted and displayed. No whispering hunters here. It's high fives and lots of congratulations all around. In fact, we were sure that Kat and I, well, we'd be coming back for our birds late in the afternoon or again early the next morning. But wait, what was that? Kat takes command of our rowdy group and says, "Hey guys, I just heard another gobble." Back into the blinds and quiet again, finally. And Kat and Dan start calling again. Well, the response comes about a minute later, and as the calls are answered, we can tell that birds are coming our way. With our two shooting blinds separated by about 20 yards, I'm the first to see three good-sized jakes coming down the forest path and directly out in front of where Dan and I are sitting. As we look at each other with a questionable look on our faces, we're wondering if Kathy can see the birds or even has a shot. The silence of the early morning is again shattered as Kathy's Browning Gold Huntress shotgun barks once and the lead jake is flattened. And with about a second to take a snapshot, the Browning fires once, a 3-inch Winchester shell loaded with number 5s takes out the trailing jake. Out from the blinds, and that third and now lone turkey gets mighty confused about what just happened. Well, there's more hooping and hollering. Now it's time to tag the birds and make them all legal. A quick drop of the blinds and some minor cleanup, and we're out of here.
Legal Beagle.
Headed back to the Kiowa Creek Outfitters ranch house to clean the birds and get ready for one of Kathy's Cooking on the Wild Side programs. It's going to have a full menu and is going to feature an easy and delicious turkey melanesa. you've seen it on film. What can I say? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Outstanding.
The birds read the script.
Yeah, it was nice the way we were able to cue them too. You know, okay, let's come in from the left into the right, and keep the light in the right way.
We get lucky every once in a while.
That was outstanding. I mean, you know, that long beard that he shot. Truthfully, I have never seen a Miriam's with that long a beard.
It was a good
I
Tom.
mean, that was outstanding.
It was a good Tom, really was.
And he made a good shot too.
Yeah, he did. He dumped him. So.
If people like more information about your operation, because again, we're talking spring turkey hunting, but you also do antelope, you've got elk, you've got mule deer, you've got whitetail. I mean, you've got it all. So if they'd like more information, I'm sure you got a website you want to send them to.
I sure do. HuntKiowaCreek.com. That's HuntKiowaCreek.com.
HuntKiowaCreek.com.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we all have. Now that we've got the birds, we're going to throw it back over to Kathy because we're going to have a special edition of Cooking on the Wild Side that's going to follow right in here on Outdoor Adventures. We'll see you on the trails.